Hi guys, I hope you all are staying safe and spooky, but also trying new things along the way. If you are new here, welcome. We love having new friends tag along on the spooky journey. If you are returning, welcome back. And thank you for enjoying enough of this journey to return again. As said in previous videos, if you guys have a story you want featured, please feel free to list them in the comments below, or you may send them to the email that is in the description box. And if you sent in an email, thank you for taking the time to write in your experience. I promise I will get around to reading them. Also, if you send in an email, I ask that you put something in the subject line. I know this is an odd request. It is my way of verifying that this is not a harmful email, if you will, but it also helps me to organize some story ideas. If you hear the sound of pages turning in the background, I assure you that you are not hearing things. I am reading my notes and have them neatly done. This helps me to keep my pace on speaking, as I do have a tendency to speak fast, but also I stutter, so it helps to minimize the stuttering. I do not think I have said it in a few videos, but if you have any story ideas that you want me to eventually get to, feel free to list your ideas in the comments. And speaking of the comment section, we are all welcome to agree or disagree with one another, as we are inclined to our own thoughts and opinions. And, that's the beauty of being a human. We all have our own individual thoughts and the way how we think. But when we have disagreeing or agreeing opinions, please make sure that we do so in a respectful manner. So, now that I have rambled on, go ahead and grab your cozy hobbies, or dare I say, clean around the house if you have been putting stuff off, maybe? But whatever you choose to do, get comfortable as we untangle today's research. And I apologize in advance if I mispronounce anything. So, our last few videos that we have done, I feel like I have talked more about buildings with paranormal activity rather than some folklore creatures like how we used to. So I wanted to change things up, and just in case it was getting a little boring talking about buildings, but also for those of you who love the folklore and came here for the folklore, I wanted to make sure that we were getting into some of the folklore stuff too. The research I have done kind of covers, or doesn't really kind of, it actually circles around creatures that are native to French folklore. Yes, you heard that correctly. I did say creatures because I want to cover two different entities, since I felt like there were some similarities between them, but also I felt like just one would make this video just a little short. So I wanted to cover a little bit of both with similar styles, but also so that it kind of helps add on some length to this video. So the ideas that I will be covering today are around the Matagot and the Lutin, which are household spirits. And this is a little different than the other spirits we have talked about, since these reside in your house rather than in the nature like others. Like if we recall the Alvor or the Alfalca in past videos. All these were entities of the forest or wooded areas, but the Matagot and the Lutin are actually more centered closer to that of your home, so they're household spirits. But just like any of the other spirits that we have covered, these spirits may either be of benefit or they may choose to be not so beneficial, depending on their temperament, but also how you treat them. So, the first of the two that I want to look into first is the Lutin. This entity tends to be mischievous, but despite that, they do also choose to do good deeds, but it's just dependent on how they are feeling at that specific moment. And even though they love pranks and have tricks up their sleeve, they tend to be non-harmful. When you treat these beings right, they will be of help to you. I will take this time to mention that they want to be acknowledged, and they hate being ignored. This is unlike things you may have, heard of before, like in Appalachia. If you hear something, no, you didn't. If you see something, no, you didn't. So this is a little different because the Lutin love to be acknowledged. And if you ignore them or disrespect them, they will pull harmless pranks on you to get your attention, because they want that attention. They want to be acknowledged. So their good deeds involve helping you around the house with your chores, which honestly sounds like heaven if you ask me. Because what do you mean you will help me with my house things if I give you respect? Heck, at this point, I'll let you move in rent-free in exchange for cleaning my house. The other thing they have been known to help with is helping your animals. I get the impression that they're outside animals and that they're farm animals, but they will help groom them. I could be very wrong, but that is the impression that I get from when I've done my research. But also, they may choose to affect the weather, but that may or may not be in your benefit. Like, it just is dependent on, again, how you treat them. So I'll say that controlling the weather it's not good, but it's not bad. It's just what you do that causes it. So now let's get into the pranks. As I said a few minutes ago, these beings tend to be very fun and harmless, and they like to pull those fun and harmless pranks. One of their most known pranks is tangling your hair into locks, or from what I read when researching, elf locks when you sleep. Another prank may be shaving a man's facial hair, if they even have any facial hair, while he sleeps. Now, I'm not a man, but that sounds like having your facial hair shaved off in your sleep just sucks. Like, what if you've been growing it out for ages and you didn't want to part with that facial hair, only just for the Lutin to come behind and just shave it right on off? Heck, what if it's like No Shave November and they take it upon themselves to shave your facial hair, all because you didn't acknowledge them? I don't know, but I guess with that one, better luck next year. I feel like that one would suck. Anyways, Lutin have also been known to leave a little present in your shoes when you're sleeping. And what I mean by present is that present is rocks or little tiny pebbles that are just shoved in your shoes. Nothing like a good morning start after getting ready for work. You're ready, you're going to start this day off right, and you're getting your shoes on. And on the way out, you're out the door, and you're getting your shoes on the way out the door, only to shove your foot in and have a shoe full of rocks. That would hurt. I mean, at this point, those rocks just might have well just been Legos. Well, I take that back, because maybe after hearing that, they'll upgrade those rocks to Legos, and I don't want a shoe full of Legos. But the last thing that they are also said to do is, as said, they may help control the weather. And it may or may not be in the person's favor. It's just dependent on how you treated them. So if you acknowledged them, you treated them right, and you're wanting it to be a nice, sunny, beautiful day, well, they're going to make it happen. But if you treated them poorly and you didn't acknowledge them, well, they may turn that weather into like a rainy, dreary day, so you cannot enjoy it. So it's just all dependent on how you've treated them. So let's talk about their appearance. What do they look like? Well, they can transform into an animal, typically being a white cat. If they did not want to be seen, well, they could simply become invisible, provided by the magic of their red hat that is decorated with 2 specifically white feathers. If they do not choose to shapeshift or disappear, they are said to carry a gnome-like stature, and they can either be male or female. Now, unlike other cases, what do you do if you want to just be free of their shenanigans? Well, even though they mean no harm, you can avoid their shenanigans. They are repelled by salt. So that means you can use a good old salt method by sprinkling a line or a ring of salt around your place, and that salt will just ward them off. So despite these spirits being harmless, there is an evil version of the Lutin called the Nine Rouge. The Nine Rouge, or maybe Nain Rouge, I'm not sure. But either way, this version has bright red eyes, and their teeth are not taken care of, meaning like they may have teeth missing, or their teeth may literally be rotting out of their head. And they wear boots too. If these are seen, they are said to appear to mainly show up prior to massive disaster happening to that specific area. So that is that on the Lutin. Not too much. So with that said, let's switch gears to the Matagot. So the word Matagot in French translates to English being money cat. The Matagot may be great to you, or it could be evil to you, causing you a painful death. I'll explain this to you guys in just a little bit, but just know that the evilness comes with the death part. And as I said, we'll get more into that in just a second. So let's talk about the Matagot and what they look like and where they originate from. The Matagot is always seen as a black cat. In most cases, some cultures may see a black cat as unfortunate or bad luck. But in this culture, that's actually good luck. And In most circumstances, the creator of a Matagot is a witch or those who possess magical powers to create these, like those who dabble in witchcraft type stuff, although I don't know if it's specifically witchcraft, but those who dabble into the magical side of things tend to create the Matagot. To obtain a Matagot, you must bait the black cat with fresh flesh. That is a tongue twister. Fresh flesh from chicken. And once you successfully catch it, you carry it home. And you do not, by golly, look back. You snag that thing and you carry it with pride. And you take it home. And this Matagot will bring you good fortune if you pet its fur. But there's more. It isn't simply as just petting them and you just get a lump sum of cash. To reap its benefits, you must give it the first of every meal. Now, some sources may say just the first of dinner, but either way, they must be the first. And I don't know about you, but I would simply just fail this task because I love my food, and by golly, I will be getting the first of the meal. But as said, some people have a little bit more willpower than I do, and they may be happy to let the Matagot have the first of every meal. Then, after that, you will also need to provide it with a nice and comfortable sleeping arrangement. If you do these each day that the cat is in your possession, you will be rewarded by receiving a gold coin daily. The last thing to do to continue reaping the cat's good luck is to pass this cat on to someone else, so you share the wealth. Don't just keep the cat and keep it for greed because it's bringing you this good fortune. Like, after you've got some of the fortune from it, that's great, but take it and pass it on. And this is where I say that the Matagot is evil, because if you do not pass the cat on to others so that they can reap of the good benefits, then it is said that when you pass on from this lifetime, you will pass on a very slow and painful death. So, share the wealth. And that is all I have for you. I know they're both very short, but they're both very similar, that they can both bring good luck and that they're household spirits. But just like any other entity, it's dependent on how they feel and how you treat them at the end of the day. So, with that said, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this. Please like and give me a follow if you haven't already done so. But, yeah, I'd say that. Give me a like and a follow, because this is also so you can stay caught up on the journey. Unless you don't want to be caught up on their journey, then don't. But if you do, then give me a like and a follow. I also want to mention that posting may be very sporadic, as I do work a full-time job, and my days off are not consistent. I'm not consistently off on a Monday or a Tuesday. So one week I may be off on a Monday, the next may be a Wednesday, and then the week after that may be a Tuesday. Each week is a different week, so my days off are sporadic, so more than likely posting will be sporadic. So, with that said, go live your best life and try to be the best version of yourself. Do amazing things out in this world, in a world full of negativity. But don't forget to try new things. But, just make sure it's legal and not getting you in any sort of trouble. But I'd encourage you to do new things and just get out of your comfort zone, because right now we live in a world full of negativity, and do something that just soothes your soul and makes you happy for once. But that's all for now, and until next time, stay safe and stay spooky out there. Bye.